Are you with someone who's normally good but sometimes a jerk? How do you handle their immature, insecure behavior without throwing gas on the fire? I'm licensed therapist Jonathan Decker, and today we're going to talk about the best way to respond when your partner is being a jerk. Here at Mended Light, we want you to enjoy healthy, close relationships. It's why we do what we do. Make sure you don't miss anything that'll make a difference by subscribing and clicking the bell. Now, we've all experienced it, the Jekyll and Hyde syndrome, in which a normally decent partner, friend, or family member turns into an irrational dolt and/or a grumpy monster. We feel frustrated when they won't listen to reason, hurt when they lash out, and confused when they make choices that we don't agree with. In life and in my therapy practice, I've found 4 simple keys will help us to react constructively and helpfully when a loved one goes off the deep end. To be clear, I'm not referring to abusive behavior. That's another animal entirely. I'm referring to how to respond when normally decent people have jerk moments. The first thing to remember is that everyone's behavior makes sense to them. This is one of the most important lessons we can ever learn. If someone is acting in a way that makes you think that they're a jerk, an idiot, or crazy, it may simply mean that you don't yet understand their experience or thinking. We human beings in general often assume that if someone isn't handling a situation how we would handle it, doing what we would do, saying what we would say, or thinking what we would think, then they must be insane, an imbecile, or a brute. Heaven knows that if they were sane, smart, and decent, they would do it our way. This assumption is our collective arrogance. We all think that our way is the right way. What's more, slapping labels on someone rather than trying to understand them is the easy way out. It helps nothing. Yet how can we understand words, thinking, and behavior that make no sense to us? We have to get to the shared nucleus of emotion. Imagine, if you will, a simple drawing of a human cell, like you no doubt encountered in middle school. You'll recall a circle with a dot in the middle of it, with the circle representing the cell wall and the dot representing the nucleus. When it comes to the topic at hand, a person's thinking, behavior, and words are like that cell wall. Too many of us, in trying to understand others, stop at the wall, see something we disagree with, and throw up our hands saying, "I don't get it." We try to make sense of their thoughts, words, and behaviors through snap judgments like, "Well, he's just a jerk," or through untrue stereotypes such as, "Women are irrational." However, if we bypass the wall for a moment and head first to the nucleus, which in this case represents emotion, we'll find common ground with the other person. I may not agree with a person's actions, but I can always relate to the emotions behind them. Words, thoughts, and behaviors can be wrong, but not feelings. Feelings just are. If we try first to understand what a person is feeling, we're less likely to see them as a monster and more apt to treat them with compassion as a person who's struggling to deal with hurt, embarrassment, fear, shame, guilt, or frustration. We can all relate to these emotions. Validating them will help us to draw close to the other person instead of pushing them away. Often, once we understand what another person is feeling, their behavior makes sense to us and there's nothing to redirect. Other times, however, this is not the case. While all emotions can be validated, some actions and words cannot. Sometimes people really do act like jerks. And in the case of actual abuse, allow me to refer you, after you finish this video, to another called How to Stop Picking Partners Who Hurt You. Now, once the other person feels understood and that they are not being judged, we can address thinking patterns and redirect behaviors. This may look something like this. "You know, I can see that it upset you when your brother took your toy. When people take my things without asking, I feel disrespected and angry. I know there are better ways of handling those feelings than punching him in the eye. What do you think you could have done instead?" Another example might be, "I'm sorry that I was late. I know that your time is precious, and it was probably frustrating to be kept waiting without knowing why. I will work on being more punctual and letting you know if I'm running behind. I need you to know that raising your voice at me in front of everyone else hurt me and was not an okay way to handle the situation." When dealing with loved ones who are, at first glance, acting like irrational jerks, make sure to manage your own frustration. Hurt feelings, confusion, and annoyance can cause us to lash out and withdraw rather than engage and connect. We cannot see things from another's perspective, understand what they're feeling, or redirect their thinking and behavior if we are upset. Being angry is also when we are most likely to be irrational ourselves and say or do things we later regret. If you feel yourself getting worked up, be self-aware enough to take some deep breaths or even say, "I'm getting upset and need to calm down so that I can think clearly. Can we take a break for a few minutes and talk about this then?" This only works, of course, if you actually go back and finish the conversation. I don't wish to imply that these 4 keys will automatically resolve every conflict and misunderstanding, but I have seen them work wonders in relationships, both those of my clients and my own, when applied regularly. It turns out that most of the time, those people who we see as stupid brutes are just individuals who are, like us, imperfectly trying to be rational while managing their emotions. The less we label them as idiots and jerks while treating them with understanding and compassion, the more likely they are to do the same for us. 2 last pieces of advice. First of all, never underestimate basic needs. In my marriage, if I'm irritable, then I'm probably tired. My wife directs me to go take a nap, and it does more for me than any communication or conflict resolution skill. In her case, she gets hangry. When she's not her best, the first thing I do is get some food in her, and then we see what's left over. Second, if your partner acting like a jerk is more of a rule than the exception, or if it's headed that way, don't hesitate to seek the support of a qualified counselor. Good therapy can help your relationship with conflict and help guide you in your decision to stay or go. Now, I want to hear from you down below in the comments. What do you do when your partner is irritable or withdrawn? Or if you have questions for us about what to do, let us know in the comments below and we'll happily address them. If you found this video helpful, I'd like to invite you to watch the next one right here. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so that you never miss a video. Here at Mended Light, we're invested in helping you heal yourself so that your light can shine to the world, so that you can be the happiest, best version of you. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist, and I'll see you next time.